Well, the thing is, like, we have like, medicine is a reductionist theory. Like, what it does is it takes the human body and it breaks it down into sections and separates it. But that's not how the body works. Like, the body is this.
Medicine does that.
Medicine does that, traditional medicine.
What do you mean by breaks it down into sections?
Well, like, it says that, okay, your heart is over here and this is how it works. And then your kidney is over here and this is how it works. But they work together.
Right.
You understand? So in traditional medicine, they don't look at it from a holistic standpoint. If you have high blood pressure, then they treat the vital sign, the systolic over diastolic. They treat the number. They don't treat the whole human being. Your blood pressure could be because you have anxiety and depression. You probably went through something. It could be because you have poor kidney function. It could be because you're eating foods that are very thick and viscous, and they make your actual
Viscous was come on, help me out.
viscous. Like, it makes your blood really thick. So, like, your blood should be like water, not Kool-Aid. You see what I'm saying? And so, have you ever, like, you know, when we was growing up, the Kool-Aid would fall out the glass and it would just clump together.
for sure.
It wouldn't even run on the table. Like, it would just clump together. A lot of people's blood is like that. You understand? And so when the blood is thick like that, of course it's gonna put more pressure on the blood vessels, and increasing pressure increases blood pressure. So your blood pressure could be high for a number of reasons. You understand? You could have a swinging blood pressure because you don't get enough sleep. There could be a number of things, but if you come in the hospital or traditional medicine and you have high blood pressure, there's a treatment algorithm, meaning there's this regimen that everybody gets. You initially get a water pill, then after the water pill, they may up you to like something like an ACE inhibitor, like lisinopril, and then after that, they may up you to something like a beta blocker. There's a treatment tree that they go through. Everybody gets the same treatment tree. Whereas I don't believe that that's how you treat people, because the body is a unison, it's a symphony. It's all working together. You take one note out and the music goes away. It sounds like scratch, you understand? And so essentially that's how the detox works. It not only cleanses out your gut, because a lot of detoxes will only cleanse out your gut or your liver or your gallbladder, but this is a full body detox. It gets rid of, you know, heavy metals out of the body. It gets rid of that 10 to 25 pounds of fecal matter that most people have in their gut that they don't know what they have. They just think they have a big belly. You understand? You know, it gets rid of a lot of the toxicity in your blood, because when you go in the market, most of the food that's on shelves, that's in stock, I like to call it, which is 90% of the store, it has a label on it. And when you have a label on something, it means that it has additional ingredients to what the food is. So you may be buying corn flakes, but when you read the ingredients, it's like 50 ingredients inside of it. You understand?
Not just corn in the
so,
form of flakes.
Yeah, so those additional ingredients is essentially, you know, preserving to make it last longer on the shelf, to make it preserve its color, you know, to make it taste a certain way, to give it a certain flavor, like all these things that are very unnatural. And so I always tell people, when you're in the business of preserving something, that's in the business of mortuary. Like, that's what they do with embalming fluid. It's to preserve the body until you actually lower them into the ground. And so a lot of the chemistry that they're putting in food, that's exactly what it is. That's why they call it preservatives. It's preserving the food. But the unfortunate thing is that chemistry is very deadly to our bodies. And when you really think about it, 50, 60 years ago, before World War II, processed food didn't exist. You understand? So it's new to the human body. I mean, when you look at it on the grand scheme of things in terms of like chronological time, in human history, processed food just blipped on in the last second. You understand that? Like, we haven't been exposed to this ever, which is why so many people are sick, so many people are obese, so many people are dying at a younger age, because we're being exposed to things that are unnatural that our bodies aren't able to recognize, aren't able to eliminate, which is why most people, like myself in the past, are constipated. And so what the detox does is it flushes out all the elimination pathways. and we have 6. You understand? Like, we have multiple pathways to get rid of things, but people only think about the urinary, where we're urinating,
Right.
and then when we're having a bowel movement.
Yeah.
But there's more essential pathways that we eliminate toxicity, because what goes in, when you think about food, the idea is to pull the nutrients out the food and leave the stuff behind.
Right.
Like, for instance, in fruits, vegetables, they have fiber. The fiber is there to feed the good bacteria in the gut and also sweep the gut out. You understand? That's why when you have a bowel movement, what's left over is a lot of the fiber.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so when you start to put things that are unnatural that the body doesn't recognize, it's like, I don't know what to do with this, so we're just gonna stuff it to the side.
Right.
And eventually that whole pathway becomes narrow and narrow and narrow, and that's the job of the detox.
Wow. And I thought what was really interesting, because you worked in food science
Right.
for a while, and I just saw on Instagram, it was on the Shade Room, and they posted Lay's. They're having all these different flavors.
Right.
Like, I don't know, it was like mac and cheese. They had like crab boiled chips. Like, it all tastes like something.
Right.
So
Right. Something else.
yeah. How do we get these flavors? Like,
Well, the thing is that we do things in chemistry where we can actually put a flavor of something. Like, let's say, for instance, we could take barbecue watermelon, or we could take barbecue chicken, right? And put it in the machine. And then once it goes through the machine, we can see these inflections that tells us what causes the taste.
so you
right.
actually take barbecue chicken, put it in a machine,
Right.
and it tells you where the flavors come from.
Yeah, we can see where the flavors come from. And then we can produce that on a chemistry level. Like, we can go inside and say, okay, we need to have this in there and this in there and this in there, and that will produce the flavor. You understand?
And what's the this and this and this? What's that?
That's the chemistry.
Like, what are they? I don't know nothing about science. Electrons and neutrons.
Well, what you're thinking about is our taste buds, and then how those taste buds correlate to, like, our brain signals, right? And so our taste buds are gonna, when we have something hit our tongue, it's going to send a signal to our brain, right? And so also what happens is we can reproduce nature, meaning a lot of times when you go out now, like a lot of people are going out to buy vitamin C, right? But when you get the vitamin C and you turn it on this label, what you'll really see is only ascorbic acid. Ascorbic acid itself is not vitamin C. Ascorbic acid is just essentially like the wrapper around vitamin C. So they took the wrapper off, and then everything else was still left behind. And so
Why don't they just give us the vitamin C?
Well, because then I just got to give you the plant. You see what I'm saying? See, plants have certain ratios of vitamins, minerals, tastes, and flavors that is very hard to just reproduce. And you can't patent peppers, which are really high in vitamin C. You can't patent that. You can't patent anything in nature. But if I reproduce it in the lab, I can patent that. And now I can make that mine, and I can reproduce it. I can sell it. You can't reproduce nature.
Right. So it's certain chemicals that you put together to produce the flavor.
Right.
And you just put that chemical as seasoning on the chips, and
Yeah,
now it tastes like
now it
chicken.
tastes like what you think to believe is like what
you think to believe is that flavor,
Right.
Because it goes from your taste buds to your brain, and you
Right.
think, oh, this is crab boiled chips. It
Right.
tastes like a crab boil. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and then people think certain things taste like blueberries, but then they taste blueberries and they're like, this ain't blue. They taste the blueberry and say the blueberry doesn't taste like the blueberry in the yogurt or what have you. You
Right.
see what I'm saying? So like,
Right, apple candy that tastes nothing like an apple, bro.
it does not taste like
How
an
did that
apple.
happen? Was it like, they just started telling you, yo, this is what apple candy tastes like. This is what it tastes like. This is what it tastes like. Then we were like, oh, apple.
Well, the thing is that I can hijack your taste buds by actually baking in the ingredients that do that. You understand? Like, I could put certain things in there to make you addicted to it. And one of the number one things they use is sugar. I mean, you add enough sugar to anything, it makes it taste better, right?
For sure.
And that's because psychologically they know that humans we seek sugar. Now, in nature, we've always seek the taste of sugar from fruit. But they know that through millions of years and thousands of years, we've developed this fondness with sugar.